Hey guys!
Hello, hello.
Everybody, welcome back to Monday Night Mythbusters. We're starting a few minutes late, so we apologize. But we had lots to talk about. As there's lots to talk about in terms of what you can do at night to help your weight loss the next day.
Yes.
So we thought we would try to break it down and give you some good things so that you have some ideas of what to do in the evening, and then another day we'll do things that you can do in the morning or throughout the day. So this way it's not quite so daunting when you're thinking about what you can do to maximize any weight loss that you're after. Okay? And of course, when we're talking about weight loss, we always mean improving body composition, not so much just the weight, because you can lose weight but lose a lot of muscle, and that is not what anybody's ever after. You really want to bump up the muscle, decrease the fat, right?
Increase lean muscle mass.
Increase lean muscle mass, exactly. So these are some things that we're going to talk about. So hey there, Marianne, Nick.
Kristen's up there.
Awesome.
Good to see, yep.
Very good. And Marianne's cooking and listening. Oh, that's the best.
Yay.
Yes. Okay. So again, always feel free to pipe in if you have any ideas for what you've done that have really helped, because we're always after sharing any knowledge that anybody's acquired. So
We've got some seasoned experts in here tonight.
we do, absolutely, that are watching today. So we thought we would break this up so into things that kind of help you prepare for the next day so that you can be really ready to have your best day, and other things that would be really more under the heading of decreasing your stress or decreasing your cortisol. And of course, those of you who've heard us talk before, cortisol is that hormone that tells your body that you're under stress, that you're in battle, that you're in that fight or flight mode. And so whenever your body is stressed and the cortisol is going up, you're going to become more insulin resistant, which means that your body's going to want to hold on to any weight. It's very hard to lose weight when you're insulin resistant. Your blood sugar is going to go up. You're going to get more cravings. And insulin and cortisol really help you gain weight over that belly. Okay, so your belly weight, if you've got a lot of belly weight, it's often because you have got chronically increased insulin and cortisol. So we're going to talk about things you can do at night to help diminish that so you don't have so much of an issue with your cortisol.
Yes. And ideally at night, we talk a lot about cortisol, but melatonin is kind of that hormone at night that you really want to kick in and be your friend, right? So high cortisol, melatonin's not going to come out to play.
Right, no. Melatonin is going to be far, far away and deprive you of sleep, which is also one of those things that makes you hold on to your weight. And we'll talk about that too. So first, let's just talk about some organizational things, because you are awesome with helping people organize.
Geeky like that.
Oh man, if you need help organizing, you are the woman to go to. I've talked to my patients. I know exactly how much you help them. So organization. So what things can you do at night to make your next day better?
Yeah, so gosh,
kick it off.
Beginning, I'm going to go into the nighttime routine after, because we're going to talk a little bit more about the value of sleep and the value of how you create an environment that allows for the best sleep. But as far as organizing yourself for the following day, you've got twofold thing, not just from a preparation of what you're going to eat standpoint, but an organization in your life, right? So if you're waking up and your time isn't managed, all of the things kind of go to the wayside. So having that idea in that journal the night before, I love journaling, not just to kind of cover the wins of the day and the gratitude and the things that you can kind of go to sleep feeling that peace and
right.
the good things in your life, but also to kind of outline what your next day is going to look like and kind of get yourself in a mindset of knowing when you wake up kind of how things are going to play out. The more automated, I call them like non-negotiables. So when you wake up in the morning brushing your teeth, it's a non-negotiable. It just kind of happens, right? The more non-negotiables that you create in your day, the more smooth your life will kind of flow and run. Right. So when food prep becomes a little non-negotiable, it becomes something you set up the night before. If you've done your food prep for the week, it can have been done another time where you could have done just that evening. You want to have your meals segmented. You want to know what you're going to be bringing. If you're in a place where you're going to work and you're taking a meal with you, you want to have all of that just grab out of the fridge and go. Super, super smooth, easy, have it done. A lot of people are like, I don't have time, I don't have this. But what you're doing by preparing is saving yourself hours and hours and hours of time.
And not only saving yourself time, but in the morning you're rushed, you're very likely to make poor choices in terms of the size of the snacks that you bring. Maybe you're going to say, oh, I don't have time to fill my water bottle, I'll just get water at work, and then you just drink little sips out of the fountain at work rather than drinking your big bottle. There are little things that you can do that really help the next day flow, and they don't take that much time if you're organized about it. If you just say, okay, here's what my lunch is, here's my snacks, my breakfast is all ready, I'm just going to turn this on and then I can eat. Then you may have time to actually exercise in the morning or meditate in the morning or do whatever thing that you really want to do before you get to work, or maybe you just don't and get to work so you're not quite so stressed. I mean, it's all about kind of deciding what's your priority, what's your perfect day look like, and how can you go about creating it. And much of creating that perfect day is about the preparation the day before, or as Kristen said, she clears her path for the morning every night. I love that.
And then we have, can fast walking increase cortisol levels? I may have overdone it this evening. So exercise is actually a conversation we did want to touch on. Exercise in the evening, depending on the intensity, can raise your cortisol, yes. If you're going to bed after you've done exercise within a short period of time, your cortisol is probably going to have kicked in a little bit.
Yeah, you usually need at least an hour, 2 hours is really better after exercising before you try for sleep, because your adrenaline is just going.
Yeah, and you know, it depends a little bit on the intensity, but it's also going to be really important if nighttime is your only option for exercise to jump into that evening routine faster. So you want to move up that time so that you're starting to kind of wind down and get yourself ready for bed maybe a little bit more, and be a little more disciplined about the steps it takes to shut your body into that kind of more comfortable mode. So if you're forced to do more, you know, an intenser program in the evening, just think about the other things that you can do to kind of offset some of the maybe not as beneficial aspects of doing that exercise then.
Right. And maybe you do it shorter amount of time with a higher intensity, so that you're finishing, you know, an hour and a half or so, rather than doing an hour and a half of exercise that's less intensity, doing it short so that you can be finished, little bursts, and then kind of chill and make sure that you've got a nice cool down, and that you're doing things that really help your body to kind of get ready for the evening, so you're not staying up in that high intensity stuff.
Yeah, and I like what Kristen said. I love for her to pipe in a little bit more on what she means by clear my path for the morning every night. So like it sounds like she's doing that preparation so that in the morning she can get up and just kind of smoothly go through her morning, because she knows exactly.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Sorry about that. Somebody's calling me while we're doing this.
And Brian asked us, can starting keto or any lifestyle change affect your cortisol? I mean, I would say that any time you're shifting your body from like a fat burning to glucose burning can definitely shift, because your body might interpret it as stressful initially. Right. So it can impact your cortisol. Will it stabilize? Probably.
Yep, but it might take a few weeks.
Yeah.
And so you might want to ease into that rather than, you know, just abruptly shifting.
Yeah, for sure. And feel your body out. You know, a lot of people go into there's a lot of diets out there that people are, the fasting and the things like that. And if you're not feeling like a positive impact from it, you know, don't keep at it because you think it's the right thing to do. It might not just be what your body is really after. You
may need to give it a couple of weeks, or talk to your doctor, make sure that you're doing it in an appropriate way. But then don't beat yourself over the head. If you're doing something for a month and you're feeling like garbage, then it's not working for you. Yeah. And you need to do something different.
Yeah, and consistency is important. So a few weeks, fine. If after that you've been consistent, you really feel like, you know, definitely.
So now let's kind of segue a little bit into those things that can affect your cortisol and thus affect your melatonin. Because we know that cortisol, as I mentioned at the outset, cortisol is that hormone that says that you're under stress, and it really is your evolution's way of allowing you to survive. So if a lion's chasing you, you need energy, man. You're going to burn out that adrenaline so that your muscles can power, your heart can beat, and the cortisol is going to start to flow so that you're going to get your blood sugar high so that your muscles have fuel to survive, right? But if it's because you've got a paper due, or because your boss was angry at you, or because you had bad traffic, your cortisol is going to go up the same way as if, you know, the lion's chasing you. And the lion's not chasing you, so you really don't need to have that sugar go up. You don't need to have that whole cascade of hormones going on. And that will also affect your leptin. Okay,
Yes.
leptin is one of those hormones that makes you feel satiated. So when you have leptin resistance, like you get when you don't sleep at night, okay, so if you don't sleep through the night, or there's several nights where you've got disrupted sleep, your leptin is going to be very resistant, and so you are going to eat everything in sight, right? Like I used to do in the ER when I worked nights in the ER. We would just chow down on junk from, you know, 7 o'clock till 7 p.m. to 7 in the morning. And especially bad would be like around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I would just be so, I'd either be
And
nauseous.
that's when your cortisol is high.
Yeah, I'd be either
then.
super nauseous, or I'd be like just ready to eat anything. And that's when you're eating your donuts and your Doritos and all the junky stuff that we really
And listen,
don't serve us.
we live in a society now where we're almost on constant demand of cortisol. So 50 times a day we're pulling our fire alarms. And so at nighttime it's really, really, really critical to figure out how to shut that off, because it's harder in the daytime when you're in the midst of all the chaos to try to reset your body. If you're into the practice and you can get into that breathing and kind of really working on those slight things you can do during the day. But if at nighttime is like it's like the prime time, and when you're sleeping is when all like the magic's happening for the restoration in your body, and we don't have a lot of restore time during the day.
Yeah, we really don't allow ourselves.
Unless you're intentionally,
Right.
you know,
Unless you live in Europe, and then you have a 2-hour, you know, midday nap, but we don't do that here. So,
Yeah, we wear the chaos like a badge of honor, and it's unfortunate, but it makes it all the more important to make your evening time routine really, really you know, passive, and something that you can really consider like a nurturing time for yourself and for your family, and wind down.
Yeah.
Kristen asked about cortisol being affected pain.
Yes, so cortisol can be affected, can affect pain, and somebody
Can it go
else
up?
said recently diagnosed with SIBO and started experiencing anxiety attack. Will my cortisol level be affected by this? Well, your anxiety attack is probably because your cortisol level is already up. Your SIBO is probably affecting your nutrition. You're not metabolizing things well. You're probably feeling pain, feeling gas and bloating, and that can certainly disrupt and shoot up your cortisol, which can then kind of push you into that anxiety attack pattern. And of course, any kind of pain can push your cortisol levels up, right? And that's appropriate. If you're having surgery, if you're having pain, your body needs to be able to kind of mount a response. So that's a healthy response, but it's not meant to be prolonged.
Yes.
It's meant to be in the short term, not for days and weeks and months and years sometimes with some people. So the short answer is yes, pain will definitely push your cortisol up.
Yes. We've got another, earplugs, eye mask, CBD. Actually, Kristen turned me on to the earplugs.
Yeah.
My dogs snore.
Yeah.
So they've helped me tremendously. You can get them at Walgreens.
A lot of people love those
The
earplugs, yeah, because it
Yeah.
kind of knocks out the sound. Another alternative, if you don't like something in your ear, are white noise. So you're just getting a machine that plays
I've
white
been doing
noise,
that, too.
right? Like a fan sound or water.
There's apps on your phone. There's one called Rain.
Yes, yeah.
There's like 20 different rain sounds.
Right.
But also, she mentions a mask. Getting blackout shades for your room is really cool too, because they even sell now little tiny dots, little black stickers that you can set over the electronic lights on your TVs and stuff, your remotes. Like you can cover those up, because those little tiny bits of light actually are triggered on your skin. So that can impact your melatonin just by having some of that light coming in. So making it super dark, the room temperature is critical. So and you should have between 62 and 68 degrees. And I know for some people that sounds like ridiculously cold. By 1 degree, it makes a really, really big difference. So if you can keep yourself to where your body temperature drops at night, and so you want to keep your body in a place where it can keep that. If it's hot in your house, it's gonna disrupt your sleep, and it's gonna be impactful, especially to people that might already wake up because they're hot or they have night sweats and stuff like that.
Right.
Making sure that you are creating an environment that when you walk in the room, that non-negotiable is your brain is going to immediately associate laying down in that bed with sleep, not with watching TV, not with being on your computer.
Right.
Shutting down those electronics, making sure that you're not exposed to that blue light. There's a ton of research that supports that blue light is disruptive to the melatonin. There's even, most of your phones and stuff have apps and stuff on there now. Even the iPhones have like a nighttime mode.
Right, exactly.
I don't know how effective that is.
And you can wear the glasses if you like.
Yeah.
And all of this is important because an undisrupted night of sleep is one of the best things to help restore and keep that cortisol level down. Somebody mentioned the night sweats, and they can be because your cortisol is cycling up. They can be because your blood sugar is either plummeting because you maybe ate a bagel or something sweet before bedtime, and now the sugar went up, and middle of the night the sugar kind of popping down, and so that you are getting those night sweats and palpitations sometimes because your blood sugar is going too low. So looking at all of those things, having a nice meal, not right before bed though, just like exercise, it should be at least a couple of hours before you're trying to get into a good, nice sleep zone. And then this preparation for sleep is just like we do with our babies, okay?
Yeah, right.
When you have an infant, a baby, you feed them, and then you bathe them, and then you rub beautiful creams on them, you sing them songs, you rock them, right? You read them a book. These are all things that tell them that nighttime is coming.
Yeah.
And adults we don't do that to ourselves, right?
Well, we don't even give ourselves a bedtime anymore. Even like as teenagers, like we all had bedtimes up to a certain point.
Right.
And as adults, we're not disciplined with ourselves as far as like getting a good night's sleep, waking up at a certain time.
Right.
And
we go from 100 miles an hour and then they just screech those heels in. And
then you pass out.
Well, then you want to pass out, but half the time your mind is like going like this, right? So you really, really owe it to yourself and to those in your family for you to take some time to create that nighttime routine and do all of these things that Kristen and Leslie are talking about, to set the stage with a nice smell, with the room temperature, with the light, and avoiding the blue light, and all these things that you can do to give your body the message in many different ways that it's time to slow down, time to heal, time to restore.
And the reason that we're harping a lot on sleep is because this has everything to do with your weight. I've had people that simply focus on sleep and improve their sleep, and their weight drops.
Right.
Somebody mentioned SIBO. You start working on your gut bacteria, your metabolism starts to change, your sleep improves, your diet improves, even your bugs are happier, right?
And your leptin is happier, right?
Exactly.
If your sleep is better, if you have less pain, your cortisol is going to drop, your leptin is going to be more sensitive, and it all just improves.
And it's all connected. So we talk about cortisol and melatonin and how they run this way. It's similar with the leptin and the ghrelin. Mm-hmm. So like if you're leptin resistant, it means your ghrelin's probably high, and that ghrelin is like the gremlin. You eat whatever. Right. So ghrelin's like your hunger hormone, and leptin's the one that says, no, I'm full. So when that sucker's not working, you're going to pig out the next day. And it's like hangover eating, right? But the sleep at night is when the magic's happening. Your hormones are being rebuilt. Your brain is doing its detox. Your body is doing like so many really great restorative things. Yeah, and that's the only time essentially that you're really getting that time. So really make it a priority, and your life. I mean, it will change your life. It really will.
It really can. But it's slow. It's not something that's going to happen overnight.
One thing at a time. Don't try to take every little one of these things and.
Right.
Because if you set yourself up for overwhelm, you might throw in the towel. Pick one thing each week, and this week I'm going to focus on the light in my room. I'm going to throw my temperature down by a degree. I'm going to prep my food.
So maybe for Kristen, how long did that take you to start to create that whole nighttime routine? And anybody else that's done it, how long does it take you? Has it taken you from when you started to manipulate your evening routine to when you feel like you've really got a great routine that serves you the next day, that gives you a good night's sleep, and you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to meet the challenges of the day? So that can take years, literally, because you have to work it around your schedule. You've got to learn what you need, what you don't need.
And it's not foolproof. You have moments in time when you have a more stressful day than others, but at this point you've established tools, and your body's developed a resilience, and your nervous system kind of knows, So it's even when you have an off day, you're not going to have near the impact as if you're just having chronically disrupted sleep.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so does anybody have any questions? We covered kind of the key things we wanted to cover.
somebody asked about the YouTube. So I think
Oh,
Gay
yeah.
was saying, so we do actually have
We do.
YouTube. So all of the shows are on YouTube. I'll put the link in the notes. We'll put it on yours. 'cause
But if
mine
you
just-
Google YouTube and
Vita.
Vita Integrative Medicine, all of the YouTubes all the videos that we've done are right there.
Yeah,
And you
so
can
it's
subscribe
about like a day
and we'll
behind,
send you.
right?
Yes,
we post them tomorrow.
We post them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or the day after. Yeah.
And then what else here? So Mildred, it looks like she's back on. She lost streaming temporarily
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but we look
Sally
like we're okay.
joined.
Maybe it was a phone thing.
So Chris,
She said it took about 6 months. Okay, and then she used the book Miracle Mornings, taught her how to create my morning routine. So
I've heard a lot of great
There you
things
go.
about that.
yeah.
The Miracle Mornings. That's a good one. And I know there's, anybody you talk to that has kind of like that successful thing, they always talk about the bookends of their day.
Mhm.
So the way that you start your day and the way you finish your day should always stay consistent. So the stuff in between, of course, life's going to happen.
Right.
But if you can keep that consistency in the top of the morning and the end of the night, that's going to set you up for
Mhm.
success and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Late night snacks that
Lower.
lower cortisol levels. So late night snacks are probably not a great idea in general.
Right.
We were
So
talking about
eating
before,
a good healthy dinner before, so you're not snacking, especially if you have SIBO. SIBO, you want to be leaving 4 or 5 hours between each meal, and you don't want to be snacking before bed.
Yeah.
But snacks that kind of help with anxiety can be ones that are high in tryptophan. So maybe earlier in the evening, not late night, but you can do avocado, you could do nori strips, the seaweed, and you can do almonds. Those are all very calming to your system. Okay.
Anybody else? We're wrapping up. And topics, if you have any special topics. We have a couple in mind still. We still want to do the cholesterol.
Yes.
A lot of questions around cholesterol, trying to understand it. It's not super sexy topic, but it's super interesting, and it actually kind of gives you clarity around some of the controversy that you might hear in the news. And when you get your labs back, you might be like, what does this even mean? And sometimes it's not as freaky as it seems like it could
Right.
mean, and other times you probably need to take a little more precaution.
Right. So that's one idea, and we've got a few others, but please send us some ideas, and we'll be happy to talk as much as we know on any particular topic of interest.
Yeah, guys, and please share. Please, we love doing this, so anything we can do to help
Right.
kind of spread the message, because there are some things that seem to us, as you've been watching and as we've been preaching, sort of common knowledge, but some people don't really know how important sleep is and how hydration and things like
Or
that can really
organization, right?
impact your lifestyle.
Your whole,
everywhere.
everything that you want, right? So when you're really thinking about this, we were just talking about how some people feel that the cost of organic food or the right practitioner can be too expensive. But then the question really is, how expensive is what you're doing right now? Because you're losing time and energy. You're miserable. You're not the most efficient at work. So little by little, these little tweaks are going to really help you. And
Yeah.
yes, sometimes they do cost a little bit more.
But
So
the cost of staying the same is really gonna cost you much more.
way more,
Much
right,
more.
in the long run. So,
Yeah.
So make these little tweaks. Some of them are cheap and some of them are not as cheap. But little by little, you're going to find that you create the life that you want.
Yeah.
And if you know of anybody that you love and would like to share this with, please go ahead and share our Facebook post. Please give us some likes on Instagram, likes on Facebook and YouTube, whatever social media that you're using that you see us on. Thank you so much. And
We got time
somebody
for
just
one
asked
quick.
the last question: allergies and adrenal fatigue, or how long it takes to overcome and heal adrenal fatigue. Oh,
Okay. We haven't done adrenal stuff in a while.
yeah, that would be a good topic. Absolutely, right.
And allergies, we just did allergies last week or 2 weeks ago with cold and allergies, so you might want to check that out on the YouTube channel. We talked a little bit about how to distinguish which one's a cold, which one's an allergy, some of the things, seasonal areas of, where allergies are impactful the most in times of the year and things like that. So that might be helpful in ways to keep them at bay.
Right.
So we kind of dug into that topic. But the adrenal fatigue, we'll definitely, we can link to one that we did in the past, but
Yeah.
there's definitely
we did one about a year ago.
Yeah, we can kick that one into.
So that will be on the YouTube station as well. But we can look at a different aspect of it as well, and looking at that timeline, maybe it would be a good way to view that.
Yeah, awesome, Mildred. Thank you. That would be great.
Thank you, guys.
I'd love to meet you.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks so much. Love that you guys drop in, and love that you interact and ask all these wonderful questions.
Yes,
I love the fact
great
that you're
input, too.
empowering yourself to be your own best doctor. Keep it up, and until next week, have a wonderful week. Stay healthy.
Bye, guys.